sir.
You can go live.
Yes, sir.
Please confirm to me when you are live.
Sir, we are live.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning to all those students and teachers across the country who have joined this SAMVAD organized by UGC. Together with me, I have the officers of UGC also here in this meeting. We have started this SAMVAD to address the concerns raised by our students, faculty, and staff members across the university. And to a larger extent, in each meeting, we are able to take up questions from you and provide the answers as much as possible during this program. And if some answers are not available during this program, we will strive to provide those answers after we discuss within UGC. So what we have done is we have announced about SAMVAD a week ago on our social media platforms, and we have received a large number of questions. And of course, some of those questions are on the same issue. So therefore, we have categorized them into different kinds of questions. And if I answer one question, let's say related to fee refund, that should address similar queries raised by so many others. So therefore, I will take up questions depending on the category into which it falls, and we will try to provide the answers to them. But before I take up the questions from the stakeholders, I also would like to inform you a couple of things. Since the time we met on SAMVAD on our social media platforms, and this program is being live streamed on all our social media platforms. So since the time we met, a couple of things have happened. One is, of course, the issuance of the new PhD regulations, and that the new regulations were very well received across the country. One thing I would like to inform you about the new PhD regulations. The earlier regulations had the condition of mandatory publication in a journal before the submission of the thesis. But after having heard from different sections of the academic community, and also following the global practices, we have removed the condition of mandatory publication before the PhD thesis submission. But it doesn't mean that students will not publish, and students should not publish before or after the thesis submission. Any researcher, if you are working for 3-4 years in a focused way on a given problem, and when you come up with the new knowledge, it is very important that it is communicated to the peers in your discipline. So either you publish in a journal or present in a conference or apply for a patent, and those practices should continue. See, when you complete your PhD program, when you are going for an employment, or if you are going for a postdoctoral research opportunity, either in India or abroad, they will of course see the quality of your PhD work. And one of the ways of looking at the quality of the PhD work is whether you have applied for a patent has been released, or you have published in a good journal. So therefore, those practices should continue, but not under pressure. It has to be a natural practice of publishing your research work in journals and conferences. And the other one that we have announced is the 4-year undergraduate program. We, of course, have announced the curriculum and credit framework for the undergraduate programs. And this framework looks at both the 3-year undergraduate programs and the 4-year undergraduate programs. So what is new in this? Well, in this new framework, we have given a lot of flexibility to the students to choose a given area and study deeply so that you have a major in a given area. Or if you are more interested, you can also have a double major in your 4-year undergraduate degree program. But whether it is a 3-year undergraduate program or 4-year undergraduate program, we are also giving you the options of taking multidisciplinary courses. It could be skill courses, it could be value added courses, or it could be language courses. And internship is something that we have introduced in the undergraduate program. So there is going to be a lot of flexibility for you in terms of multi-entry and multi-exit also. And even if you have joined in a 4-year undergraduate program, at the end of 3rd year, if you would like to exit, you will get your 3-year, the conventional 3-year undergraduate degree. So the 3-year undergraduate degree is not going to be discontinued. That will continue to exist for all those students who want to exit at the end of the 3rd year. But however, you want to acquire some additional skills, you want to go in the path of the research, then you can continue into 4th year and gain some research experience so that will make you more employable and eligible for further studies, maybe a PhD program or a research career for you after the 4th year degree program. So this has a lot of advantages to the students, but however, it also should be kept in our mind that those educational institutions which do not have enough number of teachers or which do not have reasonably good research infrastructure, they need to first focus on improving these before they roll out the 4-year undergraduate program. They should continue with the 3-year program until they have sufficient number of faculty and also the research facilities. But however, even in the 3-year program, they can use many of the features that we have announced as part of the curriculum and credit framework for undergraduate programs. Let me take some questions that have come. Of course, there are a large number of questions, but I will take up a few questions depending on the time that we have. Well, there is one question which says that UGC says no for publication, but some universities have its own PhD rules and they are asking us to publish. You see, UGC only prescribes the minimum standards, and each university being an autonomous body, they can have their own rules. In the wisdom of the university, if they think that the students have to publish 1 or 2 papers, it is up to the universities to decide how the standards are maintained in the university. And UGC only prescribes the minimum standards. And as I said, just because we don't mention in the PhD regulations that there is no mandatory requirement of publication, it doesn't mean that you should not publish. You should continue to publish. As research scholars, you should become good communicators in communicating your research work to the peers in your discipline. There is one query written by a student. I'm not reading out the names of the questioners just to maintain confidentiality about their names. This questioner says, my university has not uploaded the data of students in DigiLocker. As you know, UGC has been working with the universities to use the Academic Bank of Credits, DigiLocker and NET. We are hand-holding with the universities to encourage them to use. And we hope that in the coming months, more and more universities will use the Academic Bank of Credits, which is going to be extremely useful to the students. Now, there is a question which we have received quite often. My college is not refunding the fee that I have paid. I got admission in some other university and I want to join in that university, but my university is not refunding the fee. You are not only one case. We have received multiple such complaints, and we are in touch with the universities, and we are making sure that the universities refund the fees if you withdraw admission and you want to join in another university. But however, we have a grievance redressal system in UGC. Please go to that portal, give the details of your university where the fee refund is not done, and UGC will surely talk to the university and ensure that the fee is refunded. I would like to assure all the students on behalf of my officers who are part of this meeting that whenever you have problems with fee refund, or if the university is not returning the original certificates, please immediately get in touch with the UGC, giving all details, and we will take up your case and we will try to resolve that. There is a student who is saying that in their university, they have not conducted the first semester examinations so far. Even after a long time, everything is getting delayed. You see, this is a state university established by a state government. And if you write to us as a complaint, we will definitely get in touch with the state government. But however, we also request you to please directly write to the state government where this university is located, inform them about the delay that is happening in your university so that appropriate action is taken. And if you record your complaint on our portal, we will talk to the university and find out why the examinations are delayed. There is a question. It says that will PhD be mandatory for assistant professorship from 2023? Let me tell you that even today, PhD is not mandatory requirement for recruiting entry-level assistant professors. But however, if the assistant professor has to be promoted to the associate professor, associate to professor, PhD is a mandatory requirement. And we know that some time ago, UGC took a decision to make PhD mandatory. But however, that has been extended until July 2023. We are also re-looking at this very issue of whether we should make PhD compulsory at all for recruitment at the entry level, because in some of the disciplines, people may not have PhDs, and or even if you don't have PhD, after you join as an assistant professor, you will have the opportunity to complete your PhD, and then you can be promoted to associate professor and so on. So we are looking at this issue, and we will come back to this at a later date. How does NEP affect those who are already in UG courses? We have already made it clear that whether you are already part of the existing degree programs or you are going to join sometime in future, many of the reforms that we have announced, they are applicable to all the students. For example, take the multi-entry, multi-exit reform that we have introduced. We are in discussion with the universities to get this adopted in their statutory bodies so that students, the current students also will get the benefit of the multi-entry and multi-exit. And similarly, the PhD regulations, they will be applicable to the current students also. So, and the 4-year undergraduate program that we have announced, many universities are going to implement it from the coming academic session in 2023. What if you are a second-year BSc student now and you want to continue into 4th year to get the 4-year undergraduate degree? Well, it is quite possible. Even the current students are eligible if your university implements the 4-year undergraduate program. And if you are in the 1st year or 2nd year of that university, you are eligible to progress to the 4th year and get the 4-year undergraduate degree. So there is one question about the implementation of the recruitment of professors, you need to pay special attention to the recruitment of the academic staff, assistant, associate, and professors in the universities. You see, recently we have written to all the universities, all the central universities. In fact, we repeatedly talked to the universities to fill up the vacant positions. But however, in the state universities, the universities have been established by the respective state governments, and it is the responsibility of the state governments to make sure that the teacher vacancies in the universities are filled up as quickly as possible. And UGC also once in a while keeps writing to the state universities also to look into the filling up of the faculty positions. There is one question, and this is from a professor, a retired professor. He says, I have been hearing about the new education policy, but I haven't yet got a clear-cut description of the same. We have conducted a number of seminars and workshops to bring awareness about the national education policy. In fact, during the COVID pandemic period, when the universities and colleges were closed, we very effectively made use of this time to connect with the universities and colleges to discuss various reforms. For example, recently, we have announced the National Credit Framework. And already a lot of workshops have been conducted. We have chosen one IIT in each region, and in 5 regions, this IIT-led workshops with the participation of experts from UGC, AICTE, and the National Council for Vocational Education, NCVT. So all those experts were part of these workshops, and anytime, every time when we bring out new reforms, we are in touch with the stakeholders to bring more awareness. And if some of you have missed these workshops, you can come back to our UGC social media platforms where some of these recorded versions of the interactions are available. There is a question about there are many teachers with a demonstrated knowledge, skills, and ability to impart quality education. Is there a way to integrate their services also to enrich and empower Indian education system as one wholesome entity? There are a lot of highly experienced and outstanding teachers across the country. They may be retired or they are working in the current university and college system. There is a need to take advantage of the expertise that is available in our system. One of the things that I can think of is if some of you can produce good courses in a given discipline, online courses, they can be considered to be included in our National Digital University. You know that we are working on establishing the National Digital University, and it works as a hub and spoke model. And the spokes consist of some of the best universities and institutions of India. The spokes also consist of the educational content that is being generated by the edutech companies. They will also be part. And also individual teachers such as you who are highly experienced and talented, we will definitely consider the courses prepared by you through a due diligence process to be included in our National Digital University as it comes up. And there is another question. For PhD regulations 2022, pre-PhD is mandatory or not? NET is mandatory or not. If a student completed 3 PhD, then can he get admission into PhD course without UGC NET or not? You see, please look at our PhD regulations 2022, which prescribes the minimum qualifications and also the admission process. So if you are a 4-year undergraduate, of course, they will come in another few years. And if you get 75% and above in your 4-year undergraduate program, you are eligible to be admitted directly in a PhD program. But however, if you want to get a scholarship, then you need to write UGC NET, and only then you will get a scholarship. There is nothing like a pre-PhD in the new scheme. Any student who joins the PhD program, they have to do certain number of courses to fill up any gaps in their knowledge and also to acquire new knowledge. And then they straight away get into their research work. We have also now, as part of the national education policy, there is no need for anyone to do MPhil, and MPhil programs will not be offered in the universities. Whether NET is a mandatory, as I said, if you want to get a scholarship, NET is required. NET or any other such national examinations is a precondition, such as GATE, for example, if you're joining in IITs. So there is another question. This is about UGC non-net fellowship. And there is a lot of paperwork involved, and there is a lot of delay in the payment of the UGC non-net fellowship to the students. For those who are not familiar with the UGC non-net fellowship, those who qualify in the UGC NET and join in a PhD program in any university, their scholarships are paid by UGC directly through a DBT mechanism. We have an arrangement with the Canara Bank, and recently we have revamped our UGC NET scholarship disbursement, and the entire portal is revamped, and we have not heard any complaints at all about the disbursement of the UGC NET fellowships after we brought this new portal, which is completely online, and the PhD scholar can monitor if there is any delay in online portal. But however, for the UGC non-net fellowship, that means these are students who are admitted through an entrance exam conducted by the university. They have not taken any UGC NET examination. So therefore, UGC gives certain amount of money, financial help to them, and that we call as the UGC non-net fellowship. And this fellowship is given monthly to the university as a lump sum, depending on how many UGC non-net PhD scholars are there in the university. And it is the university which has to revamp their procedures on how to disburse this scholarship without creating too many delays in the process of giving these scholarships. And many universities are now doing it online. My request to the universities, wherever there are non-net fellowship research scholars in your university, please try to make it online. There should be absolutely no paperwork at all, whether it is a signature by the supervisor or the dean, and then finally goes into the registrar and then the finance section. And then the scholarship is released by the UGC to the student. This entire process should be completely paperless so that the students will not suffer. There is a question which says, please issue official circular regarding non-mandatory publication for PhD for the current scholars too. Well, as I said repeatedly, that this non-mandatory publication doesn't mean that you should not publish. You should continue to publish high quality papers in good journals. And the PhD regulations are clear enough what a research scholar is supposed to do, what are the responsibilities of the research advisory committee, and what are the responsibilities of the supervisor and the responsibilities of the YVC board and the university. The regulations have made it very, very clear. So there is no other separate circular that is required. But however, as I said, these are only minimum standards, and it is up to the university to decide if they want to raise the bar, if they want to have certain rules within the university. It is up to the university to decide. For MA in English, English during graduation is not compulsory, but why is it not the same for MA in Hindi? I request UGC to permit any graduate to allow admission in MA Hindi. Well, if somebody wants to do a master's degree in a language, in Hindi, for example, if you do not have any knowledge of Hindi, that may become very, very difficult. And that's why UGC minimum standards for the grant of master's degree through formal education regulations 2003, it lays down certain provisions, and it says that one should have completed a 3 years undergraduate degree in a given discipline in order to do master's degree in the same discipline. This is true for languages, but however, considering that the national education policy is advocating multidisciplinary education, I do understand that if somebody, let's say, I'm doing BSc statistics, but I want to do masters in a slightly different area, but closer to statistics, it should be permitted. We will look at that and following the guidelines of NEP, how to bring in some flexibility so that students, they have an undergraduate degree in a given discipline, but they want to do a master's degree slightly away from the main discipline, but it is close to the discipline. So this kind of flexibility needs to be built into our educational system. We will look into it, and thank you for this suggestion. There is a question from one student. He says, our teachers can read English and write English, but are afraid of speaking good English. So please let them also practice good English. You know, less than 10% of Indians can actually speak English. We are a huge country. And at the same time, all of us who have studied in our mother tongue, I have studied in Telugu until my 12th standard. Later on, I picked up English. And English is not such a difficult language from my own personal experience that if you practice and if you put effort, you can definitely master English, at least for ordinary communication with each other. So I don't see any reason why each one of us should not be proficient in English as a communication tool, while we want to promote our Indian languages, and UGC, AACTE are putting a lot of efforts to promote our Indian languages in our higher education system. At the same time, we must use English as a communication tool. We should not neglect that, because we need to communicate not just only within India, but globally also we need to be able to communicate. So English should be learned as a communication tool. There is one question about, and we are getting these questions repeatedly from many people, that I work in a private institution and there are limited opportunities for growth, and our wages are also not paid properly. So what to do about it? Well, if there are any specific complaints, please come to our UGC portal and give the details of the college, your name, and if an anonymous complaint comes, we can't really do much. If you give all the details, we will definitely pursue with that university and then try to resolve that. And there is another question. Sir, I want to pursue higher studies in a different state. I'm a student of second year of my BSc honors degree. Am I eligible for 4 years degree course? Well, you see, we have come up with the National Higher Education Framework, and now we have the National Credit Framework also, which provides the opportunity for the students to be mobile. You can move from one state to the other state because the levels and the learning outcomes are defined in the National Credit Framework. Without any difficulty, the student should be able to move from one university to the other university or from one state to the other state. And your other question that you are in second year, whether you are eligible for four-year degree program, undergraduate degree program. You are of course eligible to do four-year undergraduate degree program, provided your university adopts this four-year undergraduate degree program and then runs this program. Only then you will be able to do the four-year undergraduate program. And we have information that many universities are already preparing to launch these undergraduate programs. So there is another question again about a university. It's a private university in a state. They are offering part-time PhD without following any minimum standards for PhD. Please do let us know the details of this university and the programs that they are running on our grievance redressal portal on UGC, and we will definitely look into it. It is absolutely necessary that every university follows strictly the PhD regulations that UGC has announced. If there is any deviation, we will definitely take action against such universities. Okay, there is another question about fee refund. I have already answered that. The UGC NET schedule will be announced very soon. We have almost finalized the dates for the UGC NET and they will be announced. There is another question here. This is also about UGC NET. Okay, I'm just looking at some questions. There is a query from a student, and it says that in their university, they are not providing enough hostel accommodation, and they are not providing good facilities to the students. Well, this is a state university. If it is a state university, the state government has to look into it, the problem of hostels and other facilities. But if it is a central university, most central universities, they are trying to build extra capacity for the student accommodation. And many central universities are well funded by UGC to provide facilities. For example, now we have InflibNet. InflibNet provides access to a lot of electronic resources to all the central universities and those universities, educational institutions, which are eligible to be registered in InflibNet. There is a question on the professor of practice. This is another important reform that UGC has carried out. And professor of practice will bring in a lot of experts from different professions into our higher educational university system. And it will bring a different perspective to the students from experienced people in a given profession. What we are doing from UGC side is we are working on building a portal where all those who are interested to work as professor of practice, provided they fulfill the minimum requirements that we have announced, 15 years of professional experience, they can actually register on our portal, giving the preference of the university where they would like to contribute as a professor of practice. And universities also can register on this portal and find out from the database who are interested in a given university, and then approach them to appoint as the professor of practice. We are working with the universities also to make this scheme popular so that ultimately the students will be benefited. And there is another question that this question is there is a very good suggestion from a person, and he says he has been training thousands of students in skilling and wants to give free service in career counseling, communication in English, soft skills, and he has given his details. It's very, very wonderful, and I really appreciate that you want to do it even free of cost to help the students. If you want to give such services, you can register on a portal. It is called Vidyanjali portal, vidyanjali.education.gov.in, or even if you search in Google Vidyanjali portal, it will take you there and you can register and provide your services. There is one query from a research scholar. Many hindrances are faced in the final stages of a PhD thesis because of lot of administrative delays within the university system. In all universities, we have asked them to have a grievance redressal mechanism system at the school level or the department level and at the university level. We advise you to write to this grievance redressal committee in your own university. And if things are not sorted out, then you can please write to us on our grievance redressal portal. We will talk to the university vice chancellor and try to resolve the issues. There is one question that University Grants Commission is taking a lot of initiatives, and you can use forums such as CII to get in touch with the stakeholders. Of course, we are doing that. UGC, either myself or our experts from UGC, we do attend a lot of enclaves and other workshops conducted by industry bodies across the business bodies across the country. And we are very happy that we discuss in detail with our stakeholders and with industry bodies across the country to bring industry and academia collaboration closer, and this is happening. Right. There is one more question about, there are many questions which are similar to those which I have already addressed. Okay, so this query is about our SAMVAD portal. It's our grievance redressal portal. And this user feels that the complaint is only being forwarded from X to Y and it is not resolved. There is no reappeal on that. May I request one of our officers to explain how SAMVAD is working?
Sir, with your permission.
Please go ahead.
Sir, SAMVAD portal deals with many queries related to teachers, faculty, students, and everyone, sir. So anyone have any complaint, they register their complaint on the SAMVAD portals, and related to complaint, the details, whether it deals with a private university, central university, or depend upon the nature of the complaint, we send that query to particular experts in our bureau head. And we are giving timeline to that bureau head to go through that complaint within stipulated time, around 15 days. And depending upon the nature, students, faculties, and the depth of the complaint, we try to resolve as early as possible from our side. And when we receive the reply from the bureau heads, then we send same reply to the applicant. And if satisfied, then we close the query.
Okay, right. There is a question about rules and regulations to overcome plagiarism in research publications. Deepak Patsi, would you like to answer this?
Sir, UGC has issued the regulations regarding this in 2018, a promotion of academic integrity and prevention of plagiarism in higher education institutions. The objective of the regulations is to promote academic research and deterrence from plagiarism by developing system to detect it. These regulations were issued in July 2018, sir. And later on, sir, we have issued in 2020 a public notice also. And these regulations as well as the public notice is available on our website, sir.
So we already have issued these regulations to control plagiarism. And if anybody comes across instances of plagiarism, again, you please write to us with available evidence, and we will definitely look into it. UGC takes the issue of plagiarism very seriously. Please help us in locating such cases. And there is a question here which says he is a professor and from a university, and he says that please retain MPhil program. Scrapping of MPhil program has been done without considering its importance in the field of research. Well, MPhil program, looking at the national education policy objectives, where we want to provide students flexibility and freedom to do their academics in multiple disciplines, and also considering the fact that it is important to bring in younger people into research area, those who are passionate and capable of doing good research. We have now said that even after 4-year undergraduate program, students can directly join in PhD program. So the national education policy advocated the removal of MPhil to reduce this time gap. The students who wish to do PhD after 4-year undergraduate program, they are expected to be trained in their 4th year in research methodology and research approaches. And if they are still deficient in certain things, when they join in PhD program, they can be given additional courses over and above what UGC has prescribed, because UGC only prescribes minimum standards. They can be given additional training. So therefore, MPhil has been removed after a lot of thinking about it. A lot of thought has gone into removing of the MPhil. And globally too, we don't have MPhil is not a program that is very popular. In IIT system, for example, we don't have MPhil since the beginning of IIT's establishment. Now, let me look at another question. This question is kindly allow autonomous colleges to start doctoral program and allotment of scholars to be considered at the college level. Parent universities are not allowing to do so. See, the autonomous colleges regulations will come soon. And once those regulations come, together with the PhD regulations, the autonomous colleges can have PhD supervisors, and you can run PhD programs. So please wait until these autonomous colleges regulations come soon. There is another question. So there are a couple of other questions saying that MPhil has to be there. But as I said, MPhil has been removed after a lot of discussion and debate on that. There is one suggestion that has come. Indian culture and spirituality are the need of the hour, which is our base. And this needs to be included in our education. Yes, your suggestion is well taken. In fact, our national education policy very clearly says that our education should be based on our Indian ethos, Indian civilizational strengths that we have. And as part of this, we have also, the Ministry of Education has established Indian Knowledge System Cell. And this cell has been conducting workshops and seminars across the country to sensitize the teachers how to integrate our Indian knowledge system in the existing educational processes, so that the Indian knowledge system that is present in our country is seamlessly integrated with the modern systems. And recently, UGC also has announced the guidelines on training the teachers how to incorporate the Indian knowledge system in our various disciplines that we teach. It could be science, technology, social sciences, humanities, languages, architecture. There are different areas where India has contributed tremendously for thousands of years, and that knowledge must be preserved, and that knowledge must be studied from the context of the modern science. And we are doing a lot of efforts there, and we hope that we will succeed in integrating the Indian knowledge system with our education. There is another question here. So this question is again about the publications in a journal for PhD work. If there are no publications, how can we judge whether the PhD thesis has reached the benchmark for its award? As I said, if you publish papers as part of your PhD work or present it in conferences, you will have peers reviewing your work. So even before you submit your thesis, you have critical comments that you have received, based on which you can revise your work and improve the quality of work. So therefore, any PhD work which doesn't focus on doing high quality research cannot lead to high quality publications. And how do you manage this quality? It starts with the supervisor. The supervisor mentoring the student in good research practices, such as, we mentioned about plagiarism, for example, how to avoid plagiarism, how to write good documents, how to make presentations, how to develop the communication skills, and training the students in appropriate research methodology. It could be experimental techniques, it could be theoretical techniques that are required to do your research. So the first step in maintaining the quality is the supervisor himself or herself. And the student has to make presentation every semester to the research advisory committee, which consists of experts, not only from their own department, but even external experts. And it is the responsibility of the experts to maintain the quality of the PhD work that the student is doing. And then when the PhD thesis is submitted, it is the responsibility of the university to assign the PhD thesis to well-known experts, either in India or abroad, so that you get critical comments and to help the students to revise the PhD thesis. And then in the last stage, when the student makes the presentation to the Viva-C committee, that committee also will assess the quality of the PhD work and then gives the go-ahead. And this last stage is called defending your PhD work. You need to defend why your PhD work is worth to be awarded, and why your PhD work leads to creation of new knowledge. You have to defend as a PhD scholar. So it's the responsibility of all of us if we want to do good quality research. Good quality research cannot be achieved simply through rules and regulations. It has to be our attitude. It has to be our conduct which decides the quality of the PhD work. So it's a collective work. Now let me look at the other question. I have some questions here and some more questions are available on my WhatsApp. I will just look at that. Draft notification has already been published for allowing autonomous colleges to start their ODL and online programs, waiting for final regulations. Yes, we will very soon announce the autonomous colleges regulations. Now there is another question. It's a repeat question, but I want to answer this again. Whether the current PhD regulations, the new PhD regulations that we have announced, whether they are applicable to the students who are already doing their PhD currently. So I would like to request Gopakumarji to answer this.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the 2022 new regulations, in the last para, there is an end note. It is mentioned very clearly. Either the existing regulation, that is 22, or for those students who are already registered, enrolled for PhD, they can follow either 22 or 2016 regulation. This provision has already been made.
Okay. Now let me look at one more question. Right. Just open another document. There is kindly allow distance mode learning in LLB. This way, justice can reach common people and law can be understood by society. Well, the law education, it doesn't come under UGC. There is another council, the Bar Council of India, which looks at the standards of the legal education. My suggestion to you is to write to the appropriate regulator who regulates the law education. And let me just look at if there are some more questions here. Having access to IEEE, Springer kind of journals is not possible for students and staff of our university. We need support. Our government is working on a new scheme called One Nation, One Subscription. And as part of this exercise, we are negotiating with top publishers, which publish almost more than 80% of the journals in the world, to give access. And once this One Nation, One Subscription plan is implemented, students across the country, researchers across the country will have access to online journals and other resources. And please wait until that happens. And that is going to happen soon. Right. I think we have answered most of the questions. Let me see if any of our officers would like to say anything, add anything. While you compose your thoughts, let me also tell the audience, those who are watching our program, that we are working on two very important regulations. One regulation is permitting the foreign universities to open their campuses here. And the other regulation is to permit our Indian universities to start their campuses abroad. So both these regulations are towards their final stages. Final touches are being given to them. One of the advantages to our students when the foreign universities come and establish their campuses here is access to high quality international education while living in India. We will also have the opportunity to collaborate with these campuses. Research collaborations can be established because in these campuses of the foreign universities, we will have faculty members coming from abroad. There could be faculty members who are recruited from India also. So students, we have a large number of students going abroad every year. About 4 to 4.5 lakh students going abroad. And many of those students will have an opportunity to stay back in India and study in India. Right. I'm just looking at if there is any other question. And if any one of you want to say anything, Professor Deepak Srivastava, would you like to say anything? You want to add anything?
Sir, thank you very much. I think you have given a very well maybe answers to the questions, most of the questions. What I would like to add here is that as a regulator, UGC is evolving a culture of accountability, public disclosure, self-disclosure amongst all the stakeholders. So UGC is creating a culture and empowering the universities, because as you have rightly explained, that in different regulations we are providing lot of flexibility and opportunity under the condition that the standards will not be compromised. Minimum standards that we are going to provide, it is not to be compromised, and UGC is trying to ensure that the common complaints regarding fee refund and all these things are to be taken to the best possible manner, because we cannot sit like this and all the universities and stakeholders will have to take care of it. So culture of accountability, flexibility, public disclosure and self-disclosure are going to drive the mission of the UGC in future under your leadership, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we will keep meeting again and again through this meeting, online meeting. We will continue to address your concerns, but my request to all of you, those who are watching this program, is that please do not hesitate to contact UGC through our grievance redressal portal if you have any queries, any problems if you are facing, and we will sincerely try to address your concerns and try to provide solutions to the problems that you are facing. So with those comments, with thanks to all my officers who have joined on this platform, I would like to conclude this program. Thank you. Namaste.